Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Sundays with Sully. Thank you guys for tuning in, and if you haven't already, smash that follow, like, subscribe button on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Stay up to date with the latest marine tip, techs, and trends. All right, so what are we talking about today? We are talking about Fusion's new amplifiers. These are Apollo series amplifiers, and there's a whole lot of horsepower packed into these small little amps. Now, I'm not going to go way off into the weeds on this one for you guys, but what you need to understand is if you're going to use one of these amps, it is best to use a new Fusion Apollo stereo that has the DSP tuning built into it. That is how we're going to extract the most performance from these amps, because we're going to be able to digitally tune and tell these amps, hey, I'm pushing an 8.8, or I'm pushing the 12-inch sub, or I'm bridged. And that way the amp internally is going to take care of all those settings, dialing everything in, saying I'm in a cabin, I'm in an open air space, and it's going to dial everything in. You're going to get the best sound right from the app, right from their Fusion Link app. So these amps, this is a 4-channel, small little powerhouse guy. This is our 8-channel amp. This 4-channel is 1,200 watts on this thing. What are they saying? Yeah, 150 a channel at 4 ohms. Or you can bridge this thing out and run it 1 channel and bridge it down, right? And that's going to say, what are they telling us? 580 watts when we bridge this thing out. So this would be really good on, that works the same over here. So if we wanted to run on our 8-channel amp, we could run 4 speakers and then still run a pair of subs off of just this 1 amp. So, and again, this, even on this amp, as you see, as a size comparison, pretty small, pretty handy, pretty easy to work with, and pretty easy to mount. Speaking of mounting these amps, they now come with this bracket. So instead of trying to hold this big heavy amp in place and run screws through and everything else, which you still can, there are screw holes there, they've given us a mounting bracket. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and we can run 4 screws into this, and as this thing goes right onto here, it will snap right in place. Now I've got a nice bracket. It's hidden. It's a very nice clean mount on the back of this. If I ever need to take it off, I just pop it right off, and I can do service on it as I throw things around. Speaking of service and being able to work on this, these guys have taken a cue from the other big heavy hitters in the marine industry. We finally have removable plugs for the amp for wiring it in. So in this particular case, we've got a lock screw right here, and this is for our power. So now we can run a nice big heavy gauge wire right into this, clamp it down with the screws right here. We can go ahead and push this guy right into there, and our remote wire goes on the side, and now this thing is good to go. We've got our power. If you ever need to remove it for service, you can just pop this guy off. Same goes for our speakers. We now have a 4-block terminal for our speakers right here for both channels. So now we can go ahead and click those guys in. But as I mentioned before, what if you're going to bridge this? What if that's what you want to do? Now, most of us in the marine industry know what we have to do for 1 positive, 1 negative for that to happen. Well, they've really simplified and dumbed this one down. They've made a cover. This cover actually has a little magnet over it right here, and that magnet actually goes over this other RCA plug right here. So now when we do that, and as we slide that on there, you'll see that we only have a negative and our positive and 1 RCA cable. You can't possibly hook it up incorrectly when you're bridging this amp. So that's all included in this. You get the bracket, you get the mounting, you get all this stuff. It's a pretty hefty little guy right here, actually, and it's pretty slick. It's a lot of power. They are available now. As I said, if you're going to be doing this, make sure you have a Fusion Apollo stereo. Make sure you have the latest software on your Fusion Apollo radio, and use the Fusion app to do the stereo tuning. I think once we go ahead and we get this stuff installed in a boat here in the near future, I'm going to do a revisit with the full Apollo line and how all of this stuff networks together and how to use the app to get the most out of this system. So that's it. That is this week's Sundays with Sully. Thank you guys for tuning in, And as always, be sure to give us a follow on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook to stay up to date with the latest marine tips, techs, and trends. Yeah, we're going to be installing this stuff somewhere soon, so we'll be showing you guys that. We got a lot of other cool stuff as we are leading up to. It is getting close to boat show season. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. We're going to have some cool stuff for you guys. So anything else, drop us a line. Sales at Navtronics. Love to talk to you. Until then, figure out what else we're doing here, I guess. Peace.